are running on a Tuesday edition of Sunrise Extra. I gotta clear my throat.
Are you okay there?
Yeah, I am. One moment, please. All right, now we're good. I thought I had time to clear my throat because Brenda Braxton's seat was empty, which told me maybe it's not time for Sunrise Extra yet.
No, here I come.
She's coming.
Here she comes to save the day.
You have been sick for a while. You've been coughing and hacking, and you're better.
Feeling great.
It's just been like morphing.
Yeah, a couple Fridays ago I had like a legit cold.
Yeah.
And I kind of dealt with it over that weekend and came back on Monday feeling much better, but like those little things that come with it, once in a while you like cough out of nowhere or your nose is congested.
Yeah.
But you have the biggest and, dare I say, best sneezes. They're like, oh my God. And then it'll be like during the show, and then even today he said, Brenda Braxton, I apologize for coughing during your whatever it
Your
was.
newsread. You know what? I'll try to dial up the sneeze before the end of this Sunrise Extra so you can experience what Brenda's talking about, but right now I am sneeze free.
Fair enough.
So when you sneeze though, just curious, is it into your, do you do the sleeve thing or is it just all over?
No, wait a minute. No, it's not. That's not exactly true. It depends where I'm at. Thank you, Brian Matthews. Yes, if I'm sitting next to you, I wouldn't go, and just go all over you, for goodness sake. I wouldn't do that. I would turn, and I might go over here and, like, you know, sneeze into the air. I always turn.
And like it's going to stay back there.
It's driven with so much force.
Is that what it is?
It is just traveling at a high rate of speed for great distances.
Vetted? Is that right?
No, you're right.
Droplets
I'm going to hide now.
Thank you. No, they only stay back there.
All right.
Hi, Rod. I swear to you, we're going to get to the next Sunrise Extra topic. The captain of the Sunrise Extra ship is gone today, Nina, and she's always like, hey, we got to get right to the topic at hand.
Yes, she does.
And we have successfully avoided the topic at hand for 2 minutes, but let's jump into it.
It's like herding cats.
Yeah, now we're going to corral, right?
Okay, the corralling happens now. We have like a very newsy topic to lead things off with, and then if we have time, we'll talk about a less sensitive subject. It's about caffeine addiction. But anyway, let's talk about what really has been one of the top stories here in our newsroom for the last about 20 hours or so. Once news broke that Concordia University is not only closing, it's closing this spring term. Like at the end of the spring term, they'll do a commencement ceremony on April the 25th, and then that will be it for Concordia, which has been around in Northeast Portland for 115 years.
Wow.
And this was a story that generated so much reaction yesterday on our social media pages, on our website. We have this this board. In fact, Jay, you could probably show it right here. That board, the Chartbeat board. And it kind of just gives us an update on what people are looking at online right now. And it still remains at the top of the list. But yesterday, that number that you see at 150, now 147, that number was at 1,000 something or another. I don't even know what that number represents necessarily, but I know this. When it hits 1,000, it's a huge number.
Yeah.
So obviously there are people most affected would be the faculty and the students. And we're hearing some emotional reaction from those groups.
Yes.
Some of the students talking about the fact that this is a blow to their college careers. They don't know how they're going to rebound in time for, say, next semester.
And there's student athletes who we chatted with, and they were like, you know, I play soccer, and right now is when schools are recruiting athletes, and I'm going to have to wait another year. And I mean, it's just like the domino effect for all these kids who are left with really nothing.
And even the professors, right? They're scrambling to try to figure something else out. You know, I mean, you don't even have to talk about how sad it is. It's also how scary it is.
Right.
You know, for people who are just unsure regarding their futures and where that's gonna go.
No, well, you don't expect it, right?
Yeah.
You enroll in the school, you kind of assume the school is going to be there during your entire term.
They even had a fundraiser over the weekend, which is really interesting to me. I would very much like to hear from the university about why that went on. There's a foundation that it's an annual fundraiser, but if they were like that close to announcing
on Monday we're going to close the school,
should that not have been, you know, kind of told to the people who were there? Now they said they're going to give them refunds. They raised like $350,000 or something like that, and they're like, if they want it, they get their money back. But wow.
Even the wording on that though was curious, right? I mean, I guess it's the way it needs to be worded, but it still didn't sound great the day after this announcement where they said, I think $355,000 was raised at that event over the weekend. I may be off by a few there, but $355,000 raised, and the way they worded it was those donations will be offered back to the donors. I mean, I don't know. I just guess that's the same thing as saying they'll give the money back, but at the same time, it's not. Like, we're going to offer it back. How about just give it back?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the interim president has only been there like a month. Pat Dora sat down and talked to
The gentleman
him.
that was on our news this morning?
Yeah.
He's come in, but there's an attorney who is filing some kind of lawsuit to get the tuition back for some of those students. So there's that kind of a legal avenue that's being pursued, and the attorney is claiming that the university knew like last year that this was going to happen because they're just in too much debt.
Right, right. And Ginny was asking, I wonder if all the free community college has this effect. This is the second college to close in the area. And I mean, I think there are a bunch of different factors, but mainly we've been told that it's the number of students enrolled, right? I mean, over the years it's declined, and then a large percentage of their student population, they get tuition breaks as well.
But this is a private school, right? Isn't Concordia private?
Concordia University is
I'd say
right?
that because Jenny mentioned, I wonder if this is the free community college, which
so maybe
that's really not in play.
But it's the enrollment, I think.
It's just really been cut in half.
And they've tried to increase tuition, they've tried to cut back on salaries, and it just hasn't worked.
So do you guys have some of the comments from people that not only on Facebook Live, but we've gotten them from lots of different people that we could show.
We could pull those up. I know that, like you guys just mentioned, the university says it has tried two things. The two most obvious things they could do in order to help some of the numbers, because they say they're just swimming in debt right now. They tried to increase tuition, which that isn't great for students, but that's what they tried to do to help out with their debt. And they tried to reduce the salary of its teachers. I mean, those are the two worst case scenarios, right? We're going to lower your salary, we're going to raise tuition, and they've done those things, and yet they can't get out of the debt. And I found it very surprising to hear that 4 years ago, I mean, that is a blink of an eye, right? 4 years ago, 8,000 students were enrolled there. This year, that number is down to 5. A small college to begin with, but cut in half in a short amount of time.
Well, it's just like if you own a hardware store. What's wrong, Uncle Harry? Well, we used to sell 100 hammers a week, and now we're only selling 50. I mean, it's hard to. But the point is, your revenue stream gets cut in half. You can't recover from that if you can't figure out a way to fix it.
I expect hardware stores to go out of business these days because of something called the internet. Well, but my point is that I always think colleges are growing. More and more kids, you would think, are going to colleges. I would think colleges are a growing industry, not a dying breed.
But this one's selling half of what they sell. They sell college tuition, and for whatever reason, half the amount of people are now buying it from them.
So on our Facebook stream, Tyler Wickford says, or Wickard, sorry, I was a student here for 4 years. The amount of things that came to light in 2017 and later was concerning. I wish I could say things were better, but the writing has been on the wall for a few years now. It's a sad situation. Can we put up some of those other ones too as we look through our feed and we can see that? Chrissy says, I am so upset. They knew back when I enrolled that this was a possibility. It should never have been an option. I want my money back.
There's another one we can pull up here right now. Renee says, how sad. Received my master's in education at this campus. Amazing educators and program. One more this morning from Eric says, hopefully all the students who are currently there are allowed to transfer all their credits to any local university, even their Bible study credits. And we did mention a couple of local universities who are making an effort to help out those students. One was George Fox, and Brenda, help me out if you can remember. The other college was?
Portland State.
Portland State, thank you. Portland State.
Well, that's nice.
And I just said it out loud, not for George Fox. Hello. George Fox, both trying to help out the students at Concordia. But what a scramble for them. It is a process, usually, in normal terms, to try to do a transfer. Now they're in kind of a scramble mode. Just to go back to Ginny Carlson was talking earlier, and we were not maybe clear on what she was trying to say when she said, I wonder if all the quote-unquote free community college has this effect. This is the second college to close in our area. Someone said, you know what, in translating what Ginny was saying.
Oh, I get it.
Cascade, she's saying what she's saying is now that there is free community college
elsewhere.
should those private universities, are they expected to stay alive now? They're going to struggle because they are going to have less students when there are freer options somewhere else.
That makes sense, sure.
And I think Melissa Baker, did you read her comment?
No.
I think she's saying she was a nursing student who was supposed to graduate in 6 months.
Yep. I heard from one of our producers here had a friend who he reached out to just after this news broke, and she just enrolled in Concordia. Like, she's starting off the program because they did have, for many, many years, a fantastic nursing program there. And it was an accelerated program where I think normally it would take you 2 years in a normal university to get this nursing degree or certificate.
Well, if you get a BS in nursing, your BSN, that's a regular 4-year bachelor's program.
Point being, Andrew, what was the number on that? Andrew Dorn. Can you take those headphones off? The accelerated nursing program at Concordia, it would normally take how long, and they did it in how many months? You just told me this yesterday, young man.
I believe it's only a 16-month program that would normally take 2 years.
Yeah, so they're talking about a 2-year nursing program to get your associates. They had it so that you could get it in 16 months, which obviously is attractive to a lot of people who want to earn that income a little bit quicker.
Well, Melissa Baker was weighing in on that as well, and she said the nursing students are in serious trouble. We have months until we graduate and don't know what is going to happen now.
So these are students that weren't going to be graduating this spring, but maybe over a summer term, and the summer term won't be there.
Right.
And then Kaylin Rivers says, I was talking to an advisor there for the nursing program, and now do I even want to talk to them?
So many questions, right?
And Melissa Baker, who is going through the programs, just wants to clarify what I was saying. She's actually saying it is the 4-year program in other colleges. They would do it there in 16 months.
Wow.
So where you would go to another university and take 4 years of nursing to achieve that degree, Concordia had a program that could reduce the time of study to 16 months.
Wow.
A huge attraction for a lot of students who wanted to get into the workforce as quickly as possible. That is no longer there. And I thought as soon as this story broke, geez, it's probably been 2 years now. The years all catch up pretty quick, but we just had the news not too long ago of Marylhurst closing. They're near Lake Oswego and West Lynn, another private university that had been around forever, and now that's shut down as well. So yes, and someone had asked about that. Didn't Marylhurst just close? Yes. Marylhurst a few years ago, and now Concordia here in 2020.
It just breaks my heart. Melissa is like saying, you know, we are so scared.
Yeah.
There was also an art school that closed last year, the Oregon College of Art and Craft in Southwest Portland.
Okay, so Jay behind the camera, saying.
My son's friend went there for a year.
The Oregon College of Art and Craft closed just last year, Jay saying.
Yeah.
So it is, there is a bit of frequency right now that is, concerning, obviously, especially for the students and faculty there.
Is anybody on YouTube? I'm just looking on Facebook Live.
Yeah, I'll take a look
to see if
And Tyler,
we usually
he
have
just
some
commented there
usuals.
too. He was an alum. If somebody wants to read his comment.
Well, that's difficult if you're an alum, right? You love your school.
That's what he's saying.
And then to think
So
that
yeah,
it's not there,
so
that's very
Tyler was
personal.
saying it just feels like a slap in the face. The students and staff and professors made this college what it is. I know many of us feel betrayed. And Jen Miller, good morning, says my daughter started the accelerated program in January.
Jeez.
So yeah, I mean, you just started. That means you're only 2 months into what was supposed to be a 16-month program.
It's difficult. But I mean, in their defense, you're a business and you can't really announce your closing until you make the decision to close. And the timing on that's never going to be great, no matter when you do it. Sounds like they have terms all year. I mean, it's just one of those things. There's no easy time to say, hey, we're going to close.
No, but like the kind of almost no notice for the people who are just responding.
But I know,
here.
but I'm going to, and it's really difficult, but I'm going to assume they're scrambling and trying to figure out a way until they have to announce. I mean, if you announce you're going to close last fall, we're going to close, by the way, probably after this year. Everybody's scrambling. Then you got nobody staying there to demand the shop until it closes. I'm just saying it's not an easy thing. At some point, you have to pull the plug, and when you do, it's always going to be difficult.
Yeah.
It's a good point, Rod. Corey is looking at this from the business side of things as well. Corey, watching us on Facebook at this very moment. Good morning, Corey. He says, in the real world, when customers are not buying your product, you look to cut cost, not raise prices, right? You try to do something to bring those customers back. But colleges, in this case of Concordia, started raising tuition to make up for the lack of students going there. He says the local community colleges, as far as he knows, are hurting right now as well.
Because I think, Clark College up in Vancouver, I think I'm correct, I think their population is doing this, going up. So I think it's a mixed bag across the area.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
We do have a second topic that we can dive into, unless you guys are dead
I
set
see
on.
somebody weighing in on the second topic now.
And that's
Go
why
ahead
I thought
and
we would bring it
introduce
up.
Yeah.
Only because the Today Show is running a story that we piggybacked on this morning during the Sunrise Show. They're talking about caffeine addiction. And we sort of really drove home the point about being addicted to coffee. but this is about caffeinated beverages in general, and that's what Christy Smith says. She says, regarding the caffeine addiction topic, it isn't just about coffee. Yeah. She says she's addicted to caffeine, but she gets her caffeine through Diet Pepsi. The question was about, our simple question was, are you addicted to caffeine? Yes, no, or do you not drink caffeinated products? And we can pull up the poll right there.
Or we said don't drink coffee.
Yeah. The majority of our viewers saying yes, in fact, they are addicted to caffeine. And there's more to this subject, namely, what are the symptoms that come with for those who try to kill this addiction?
Camera Jay,
on your
it's like zoom in on my coffee mug.
Did the story get into, though, what's bad about being addicted to coffee, I guess is my question. It seems like a simple question, but what's the detrimental health impacts of being so-called addicted to caffeine?
I prefer it, Rob, when you ask the questions that you have the answers to.
I don't have the answer to that. I assume they're getting into that on the Today Show.
Well, you were saying that you have caffeine withdrawal if you try to stop drinking your coffee.
I'll get the bad headache. I mean, sometimes I'm out of my routine, and often if we're traveling or something, I just haven't had coffee all day, including the morning hours, and then I will get that classic caffeine headache that comes on. It's pretty pounding, and then to me, I've had that enough that I recognize that's a caffeine headache.
See, I bring my thermos in the morning, just straight black coffee, which I love. And this is my second mug. I usually will not get through it all, but I do love my coffee. And I don't get that when I don't have coffee on a particular day.
I wonder though. So with the
you're worried about me, aren't you?
Well, I wonder. Have you tried
I think that's really common.
Days? Have you tried going multiple days in a row and you get
to see if the headache will go away? No, that seems foolish. No.
Prolonging the pain. But I'm like Brenda. I don't get headaches. I love coffee and I'll drink it, but I don't need it. And when I get rid of it, it's kind of like, oh, okay. But plenty of people do get those headaches and get, moody and...
Okay, take this for what it's worth, because I just did a quick Google for you.
All right, thank you.
The downside of caffeine. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
After much research, this has concluded that repeated elevations in blood pressure and increases in your reactions to daily stress. So you're wired because of the caffeine.
Oh, yeah, I'm wired.
Could boost the risk of heart disease. Is that a thing?
I tell you, my blood pressure numbers have always been, I get my physical every year, my blood pressure numbers have always been smack dab exactly what's considered perfect.
Okay, well that's good.
But I am wired.
You're naturally caffeinated. You're like one of the most energetic people that I know.
Wait, and Jess, she was just telling us, she was talking about her blood pressure. Jess, did you say that's because of coffee? So her doctor says that her blood pressure is higher, right? Because of caffeine and stress. That's what, and Jess is only like 27.
Yeah, the stress thing is a big deal, and she works graveyard girl. That is just hard on your body. So this is from a Mayo Clinic partnered study found that an increased level of coffee, like 4 cups of coffee, linked to early death.
What?
I don't know about these health studies because I feel like you can say anything about anything.
There's so many factors in those health studies, but I will say, they've also found benefits to drinking black coffee. So, maybe it's like anything else, you just don't overdo it.
4 cups is not, gosh, I blow through 4 cups in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's not that much.
No doubt.
Oh, and hey, if you ever get another headache, Rod, JR Raven on YouTube says arnica tablets for that headache, Rod.
Arnica tablets?
I think that's more of a, I think that's a naturopathic.
Is that right? Okay.
Right, JR, let me know. Is that a naturopathic kind of medicine?
That's easy to remember. Thank you.
I think it's naturopathic medicine.
I've spent the last several minutes working feverishly to do some research to answer Rod's earlier question about the negatives associated with consuming too much caffeine. Hey, Rob Sutton. Jay, you can show Rob Sutton working hard.
Is Rob Sutton?
Our Sunrise producers. The name of the author, Rob, again, now it slips my mind, that wrote the book.
Michael Pollan.
I could have just asked you, Brenda.
Yeah, you could have.
Wow. I don't want to put the pressure on live.
Carnivore's Dilemma, right? The author of Carnivore's Dilemma.
Michael Pollan.
Omnivores,
wrote a new book about caffeine addiction because he himself, he says, was addicted to caffeine. And that was sort of what's launched this whole conversation that is now being had today on the Today Show. And he says that Here's a drug we use every day. We never think about it as a drug or as an addiction, but that's exactly what caffeine is, he says. He put out this new book called Caffeine. It explores the science of caffeine addiction and the withdrawal effect of when you give up caffeine. He says there are studies that show that people's both mental performance and athletic performance
athletic. Now we're talking.
Am I going to say improved or not improved?
Improved.
I feel good. Improved.
Improved by coffee,
that's me.
he says.
Yeah.
If you have a cup of coffee after you've learned something or read a textbook chapter, you are more likely to test better on it the next day, according to this fella.
Wow.
This fella. What else does Michael say?
If you learn something or read a textbook chapter and then have a cup of coffee, it sticks in your brain. It's like glue for your mind.
Oh, yeah.
Is that like?
Wow.
I don't.
I believe it. I can't remember.
Pollen quit caffeine cold turkey so that he could fully appreciate the mental and psychological boost that his morning cup of coffee had provided him all those years.
And?
He says without the coffee, could not focus.
That's
Lost
me.
confidence.
Wow.
His confidence went away.
That's me.
He says the whole book that he had thought about writing in regards to caffeine seemed like a bad idea, a stupid idea, to quote him. And his loss of confidence actually listed as one of the symptoms of, loss of confidence is actually listed as a symptom of caffeine withdrawal.
Interesting.
So I still haven't figured out why it's bad for you. All I know is it sounds like you shouldn't stop.
Well, just for me on this crazy shift, I mean, some nights I get 6 hours sleep. Often I get 5 hours sleep. I get up at 2:15 on average. We all do. And but I will tell you, the few mornings, for whatever reason, we didn't always have a coffee pot in the newsroom. And usually I bring coffee, but the few mornings that I would not get around to getting my coffee in the morning and bringing it with me, it was difficult for me to stay alert. I'm being serious. It was difficult for me to stay alert to the level I need to be to get through the task
Not
of
bringing
this
coffee
shift.
is just not an option.
You know?
That's my go-to.
Yeah. I mean, it really
Never leave the house
was
without
difficult for me.
Because of those headaches you get, that made us think that maybe Rod is addicted. Like he cannot live pain-free without his coffee. You were saying, though, for you didn't think that if you gave it up, it would be harmful to you in any way, shape, or form. You just enjoy it.
To my recollection, I've never had a caffeine headache. When I've gone without. And the one time that I really did, the only times in my life that I was like, I can't stand coffee, was when I was pregnant. Both times with my kids. It's like as soon as I got pregnant, I was like, I don't want caffeine.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just
caffeine overall or coffee?
Coffee specifically. And I would like everybody on the Sunrise show back in like 93 and 98 when my kids were born, huge coffee drinkers, and just the smell of it would make me queasy.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I don't get the headaches.
All right. One last word from Michael Pollan, the author, who wrote this book, Caffeine. He says he thinks the word addiction has a lot of moral baggage attached to it and maybe shouldn't be applied when it comes to coffee, because he says if you have a steady supply of something and you can afford it and it's not interfering with your life, then is it really an addiction? I mean, you enjoy it, you can afford it, it is not negatively impacting your life, or so we think.
Yes.
So how can we call you an addicted person?
I don't think you should.
We're not going to. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that today or ever, for that matter. I've stopped looking at the Facebook feed. I don't know what people are saying. I was so busy researching Michael Pollan and
Brian Garrison says no caffeine here for me. Not a coffee drinker. I guess not soda or tea either.
Michelle Cardwell, I love coffee. Too much of anything causes health problems. That's probably a good thing to kind of live by.
That's a fair statement, right? Yeah.
Too much Sunrise Extra can also cause health problems. They can cause stress. And the person who has to do the Today Show cut-ins here in a moment, that's Brenda this morning. So we say goodbye for this morning.
Bye-bye. Have a good morning.
Dude.